Morning, everyone. Welcome to Passion, Purpose, and Possibilities. How is everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're all having a great week. We are coming to you live, despite what it looks like in the background, from Arizona. So this is just a picture I would like that I took from Oregon, but I'm currently in Arizona right now. So there we have it. Anyways, hope everyone's having a great week. It's a beautiful day here. Beautiful day, beautiful week. What's everyone been up to this week? Love to see it in the comments. Today we are going live with David Cogan. David, he has been a healer since 1989 and channeling since 2002. At age 18, he miraculously survived a car accident that devastated him by taking the life of his 3-year-old cousin, Kristen. His obsessive passion to live more from soul carried him through the years of severe trauma and self-destructive behaviors. He now helps clients feel and use the love and power of their soul to heal trauma so they can create the life they want. So I'm going to bring him on. David, how are you?
Good morning, Kenny. Good. How are you doing? I love your background.
Oh, thank you.
I'm right down the coast from San Francisco, so that's familiar scene.
Awesome. Yeah, we took that in Oregon, November of 2020, but I'm actually currently in Arizona, but I just like that picture, so
That's
works.
what I heard. You're in Arizona. Where in Arizona?
Just south of Phoenix.
Okay.
So just taking a week trip out of town for some business and family time and whatnot. So here we are.
All right. Excellent.
Awesome. So David, thank you for taking the time to come on the show. I've read your brief introduction. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, if you would.
Well, like you said, I miraculously survived a car accident, and it's a miracle I'm alive, but it did take the life of my 3-year-old cousin, Christian. And the guilt was tremendous, and a lot of trauma through a lot of years, self-destructive behaviors, whatnot. In my early 20s, I just was really pulled to become a healer, the healing arts, whatever massage started with, energy healing, channeling, whatever. And I've always had this strange, weird, freaky obsession to live more from my soul space. And once I had that experience, whoa, it validated it. It was like, yeah, I want to live like that more. That feeling of love and joy, just sheer ecstasy. And of course, I don't live there 24/7, but
don't mind my son.
That's okay. We have a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. So now I just want to help people experience that, and then help people use that innate healing power and just the sheer power of your soul to solve their problems, their concrete problems in the world. So that's what I do now through Zoom, through my beautiful home office. I'm blessed to be here 3 blocks from your background, the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and just,
Yeah, I love it. And we'll just start there with the ocean. You mentioned that. And for me, it's such an inspiration. Every time I go there, even looking at this picture in my background, it's inspiring, and it reminds me of the experiences I've had there, good and or bad. And, how to ways to improve my life and improve others' way. What about for you?
yeah, I was born in San Diego, California here. And so even though I grew up in Northern California, we went back to the beach every summer to visit grandparents, and living a lot of my life near the ocean and away from it. I'm just an ocean person. I mean, sometimes I go down there, and speaking of that, Kenny, I sometimes marvel at, like, there's thousands of miles of water out that way, and behind you is thousands of miles of land to the east, all the way to the East Coast. And these two enormous worlds just meet in this tiny little beach. they call the beach. These two worlds meet in this tiny little sliver of land and water. And me surfing, it's very analogous to life. Sometimes you get pounded out there, right? Sometimes you get the wave of your life. Sometimes, you can't, it's very flat and there's nothing to do. But there's a lot of analogies to the ocean and life, I find. And so it helps me also recharge, especially the last couple of years, take the kids down, the dogs down, get some fresh air. And it just means a lot to me personally, the ocean. Does that answer your question?
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, there's so many analogies that we can relate to the ocean, and so many lessons we can learn from the ocean. And relating that to your introduction, it's going to keep pounding you and stuff, but are you going to keep coming back like the waves of the ocean or whatever, but that beach is still there, or are you going to let it crumble you?
Right. That reminds me of a quote, real quick. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf.
I love that. It's
life's going to pound you sometimes. Can you get back on your board? Can you power through it? Can you have the resources and get the help and just do whatever it takes to get back out there? Anyway.
I like how you said that. You said get the help, because unfortunately a lot of us don't get the help. We don't eat that piece of humble pie and get the help we need, whatever that may look like, for us. Because sometimes I know for me, I'm too stubborn. I want to figure it out on my own, or whatever, or I'll take 3 times as long as it should have taken or could have taken if I'd have gotten the help at the very beginning. Do you find that true for you and people you work with, and how do you get past that?
Well, yes, I find it true for people that reach out to me to get help. I find their results are astounding, because they're willing. For me, it's a constant, we all need help. And I recognize the egos, well, I'm going to do it by myself. And I think there's strength in asking for help and wisdom, because it's just like saving time. It's we're all in this together. Everybody has these tools and knowledge and assistance and abilities and connections that help us along.
Sure.
It's what comes to mind right now is like a tribe. If I was to go out from the tribe and try to live on my own, I'd probably die, get eaten, starve, whatever. But if I stay with the tribe, there's safety in that. And there's a reason for that. And more than ever, I think humans do need to come together, because we're facing climate change. We're facing things, a lot of different things that are tearing us apart and isolating us and making us, some people just go into a cave and like, okay, I'm not going to deal with it. So it's a very long answer, but I feel it's very important to ask for help.
And you said a key word is willing. When the people that come to you for help and they're willing. There's a quote out there, and I forgot exactly who said it, and I'm going to butcher it, so I'll paraphrase it. Nothing can stop the man who asks for help or whatever, but no force on earth can help the man who's not willing to receive it, or something to that effect.
I love that.
I'd have to look it up to find the exact one, but it puts a point across, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Piggybacking off that, this last Olympics, I believe it was one of the taglines for the Olympics, said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Absolutely.
You have to start. You have to be willing. You have to go forward, even if you don't know how. And I think also piggybacking on the willingness is the decision. Okay, am I going to do this? Then I can get the help. if I need it. If I don't need it, I'm still going to do it. It's like it's that determination decision to heal your migraines, for example, or contact, just reach out is that decision to do it. And then that willingness comes in. Maybe they go hand in hand, right? The willingness and decision come kind of simultaneously, but you're right. I think that willingness is what carries people.
Yeah, and I find it so much easier because the resistance isn't there anymore. If I do something because I'm forced to, then there's a lot of resistance. It's going to take longer. People are not going to be as happy. The results aren't going to be as memorable.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Versus
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. If
No.
I'm willing to, then the experience is going to be a whole lot better on every aspect.
Right. I was going to say, we have kids. We know that, right? We tell a kid what to do, even if it's something they want to do, and the counter will comes up. No. But if you give them a choice and suggest something, it's a whole different thing. So I think that's extremely right. And what I find, not to completely change subjects, but your title here, passion, purpose, and possibilities. I've been blessed to have a passion and a purpose. I mean, to the point of not going to college, obsessive, just this is my path. And a lot of people don't know what they want to do. And so one of the things I do is help people find that purpose and that passion. And at the same time, it comes from within, just from being alive, just from being you. Let's say just Kenny, like it just the soul essence, just this happiness just because. It's not contingent on how much money you have or don't have, the career, the family, the relationship. It's just this experience that people can have of their essence, their soul, that forever changes their life. They're like, whoa, okay, that's real happiness. That's joy. That's holy cow. That's something else. And I feel people go for that with things in the world, which there's nothing wrong with acquiring things and experiencing things. But when it becomes the source of the happiness, it just always fails. It's temporary at best. Ask millionaires. They have a lot of freedom and a lot of things that people that are poor don't have. But they're also human and suffer and miserable. And that in itself isn't going to bring them happiness. So I believe there's a happiness epidemic, not to use that word lightly, but despite even before all this was happening, people seek happiness, I find, first and foremost, whatever they think is going to bring them that.
That makes me think of another quote I've seen. It says, people are so poor, all they have is money.
I haven't heard that one. That's a great one.
I'm not sure.
Or they have, that's a great one.
Who the author
is money.
But yeah, it's so true, because you think money will bring you happiness when it's really what you do with the money and how you use the money,
right,
and how it correlates and aligns with who you are. Like you said, I could have $10 million and be sadder than Ebenezer Scrooge on Christmas.
Right.
But if I use that money to do the things that I'm passionate about, whatever that may be, then it's those things. Money's just a tool.
Exactly.
When I learned that money is just a tool, just like a screwdriver in my toolbox, it was like eye-opening day and night.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're full of quotes today. It makes me think of another one that's very pertinent to these times. And I might be paraphrasing a little, but it's a Native American quote. It said, only when the last tree has been cut down, the last fish has been caught, the water's undrinkable, will man realize you can't eat money. In words, it's when push comes to shove, it's just paper. What happens when there's an earthquake here or tsunami there? People band together. We need food. We need shelter. We need water. We need to band together. Going back to, getting help. So I like that one. People are so poor, all they have is money.
It's like that scene on Titanic where the rich guy kind of says, "I thought we had a deal," and the other guy throws the money back at him. It's like, your money won't save you any more than it will save me.
Right, right.
But
Just another quote, right? It's like changing seats on the Titanic. Speaking of something that's futile.
yeah. Um, how would you describe passion versus purpose?
For me, they're one and the same. I think when you have your purpose and know your purpose, you're very passionate about it. In fact, that's probably how you tell it is your purpose. You're passionate about it naturally. I mean, you seem to love what you do. You're living your passion, right? So I think they go hand in hand. If you're not passionate about it, it's probably not your purpose.
I like that. I like that. For me, it's both. They're one and the same, but they're also different because
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can be passionate about your purpose. So it's a double-edged sword in a good way, if you will, at least in my eyes.
Exactly. I mean, you go about your purpose. There's going to be days you don't want to do stuff within your career or job, right? That's a given. But overall, you love what you do. And that passion may come and go. That's why I think your spiritual connection is so important. Again, even your purpose and the doingness of the world will wane perhaps over time. Not for everybody, but if it does wane and you're like, I sometimes I've worked with people like, I don't know, just know I used to have this great passion for what I do and I don't anymore, but it's still great, but I'm not feeling it. So I connect them with their spirituality and their center, and that passion returns because it's kind of goes hand in hand with the physical world, in what we're doing in the world. And even to go a step to add to that, the passion and purpose, then you have the possibilities, right? You've got your passion, your purpose, then there's all these possibilities. So it's a great title for your show because all of them really support each other.
Thank you. Yeah, it's we've been so ingrained to conform, to stay within this box. This is what my grandpa did, this is what my dad did, this is what I'm doing. And not to put anything negative on that, it's just
Yeah.
how it's been and how society has been for the past umpteen hundred years. Excuse me. And a lot of times we stop looking outside of that path. We stop exploring what's out there. If somebody's a third generation whatever, architect, plumber, designer, you name it, then there's that pressure to keep up the family tradition.
Right.
And they may still go down that route, and that's fine, but they don't open up their eyes to so many other things that they could do as well. Or they're looked down on. Oh, you're gonna do this too? Or take a there's so many things out there. What I do, a lot of people think is a pyramid scheme or a scam. Or, oh no, go get a real job. How are you going to pay the bills with that? Whatever it may be. So people stop going outside of this normal. So that's what explore the possibilities is about, because there's so many possibilities and of what's out there, what you can do, what your calling is. Sometimes you might not even know what one of your passions are, because I feel there's many purposes and many passions that you can live simultaneously.
That's very true. I agree with that. I'm living testament to that. You probably are too, and I agree with that. I think one of the things that spurs people to look for those possibilities is going back again to unhappiness. They're not happy. This sucks. I'm not happy doing what I'm doing. What else can I do? So I think there's people that, like you said, maybe stay in there and just persevere and just do it anyway. And there's people that go, okay, well, yes, I've done this, my family's done this, but I don't think I'm going to do this. But I think, yeah, that unhappiness spurs those possibilities. Like, okay, what if not this, what? But I think you're right that we're not taught in school. We're not supported in college. We're not taught, okay, dream what you want to do. Then we'll figure out how to make money at it and make a career. Instead, they have these, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's these possibilities, and that's about it. But there's many more that they don't cover. So I'd agree with that. Maybe one day in schools they will start to implement, like, help kids really dream about what their passion and purpose is.
Yeah, and we've heard this before as well. That's why it's so important to share your message. That's one of the reasons why I'm sure you're doing what you're doing. It's to help others to do what they do best. And I created this platform so others can share their message to help people see those things. To because your message is meant for this person's ears.
Mm-hmm.
My message may not be. It may be pretty similar messages, but your message is meant for their ears. My message is meant for this person's ears.
Right.
So it's so important that we share our message. And when I first started this, I was like, there's 8,000 people with a similar platform. Why am I going to be any different? Why should I even bother starting this? But excuse me. And then people ask me about likes and ratings and stuff. I'm like, I'm not concerned with that. I'm not as concerned if nobody's watching my show when it's live, because I know the messages that are shared will find the right ears at the right time.
That's
And
great, Kenny. That's very wise. I believe that too. And
and
there's
it gets
many
pushed.
ears.
Sorry, what?
I was just going to say there's many ears that need to hear a lot of messages. So it's not a competition. It's like we need everybody to give their gifts and messages.
Absolutely.
A lot of
And
ears that need to hear a lot of messages from a lot of different people.
and we were talking about kids a minute ago, and and as kids are, they're they mute their parents a lot of times. I could say the same thing all day that you would say or their friend would say, but oh, it's just dad. It's just dad. But if their friend says the exact same thing, if I write down the script and give it to their friend and then they say it, oh,
Yeah, yeah. And you know what I've also found is you do that, you say it a million times and like da da da, and then you say one thing one time, and 6 months later they repeat it and remember it. I'm like, you know, I know it's getting in there. You might not acknowledge it. It may seem like it's not getting in there, but they're hearing everything, and they may not reflect it back. But yeah, it's funny that you. It's a good analogy because yes, from an outside source, from the parents, often they're like more receptive or more, at least reactive to it, acknowledge it at least. Yeah. So, and you're right. For a while, I was very, kind of fearful, fearing that people didn't want to hear my message. There wasn't enough people interested in having a soul experience or soul awakening or living from that space more. They had other concrete problems they were dealing with, which I could also help with. But my main passion is wanting to help people have this experience and really feel who they are at the deepest level. But I got over that. I've been sober 10 years now. I don't even want to drink or do any of those things. It was just completely amazing if you know my 27 years of abuse. And, but I had to get over that fear. It was like, okay, I'm just going to do what I do. Kind of like what you said. I don't care. I'm just going to give my message. Whoever wants to, whoever it's meant to hear, they'll work with me. The others, I bless them too.
absolutely.
So even though I guess my point in that is even if you have your passion and your purpose, there's still fear and doubt. And it doesn't mean don't do it. It means work past the fear and doubt.
Yeah, get through it, work past it.
Yeah.
Because I relate that to, let's say, oftentimes it's like a ride at a theme park, per se. You know, you see this big, scary fear. You know, you get on the roller coaster and you're terrified. But once you're done, you're like, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah, that was actually kind of fun. My son charges those things from a young age. He just wanted to go on those Great America wildest roller coasters. And when he got of age, he did it. He'd be up there riding it over and over again. See, it was just astounding. His sister eventually did too. She's almost 2 years older. But he's just like this little fearless daredevil that just did these wild roller coasters that I didn't do at that age at all. I do them with him now. It's fun, but it does have that initial fear, but excitement, and you know what? It's also a good analogy for life. Like, okay, fear, but I'm safe. This ride's safe. It's going to be fun, exciting, but it's enlivening. It's what those rides are. I find it a spiritual experience almost because it's like this. Get on this ride, and it's this fun, amazing, challenging, a little scary ride that just makes you feel alive. Anyway.
Yeah. You know, and whatever that fear may be, whatever that ride, I'm myself, excuse me, I'm not a big roller coaster fan or those fans, but I've gone on a few, and now I can say I've done it. I've had that experience. That's a memory I've got. I I don't think I'll go back on it anytime soon, but I'm glad I did. You know,
Perfect.
just like other fears in other areas of your life. You know, it's like I didn't like really going on it at the time as much, but I'm glad I did, or whatever. You know, so there's
Mm-hmm.
you gain so much when you look at it properly and have the right people surrounding you, supporting you, getting that help.
Yeah.
You know, because like you said, if your daughter went on it after your son did, you know, so she had that example, that mentor ish, if you will,
Right.
you know, and then it helped her through it, you know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And that's a great point because even to this, it's been a couple years because of COVID. We haven't been in a couple years to the parks. But even still, I'll go to a ride and I can imagine myself going there in line and like, I don't really want to do this. But my son wants me to go and I know it's going to be fun and good for me and I'm going to have fun on the ride. But there's still that resistance. And I think it's important to know yourself. Like that's okay for me. It's not as big a fear as where I don't like it. It's just a little bit. Whereas that's just not your cup of tea, and you're solid in that, and you respect and love yourself enough to go, okay, I'm so glad I did that and got over my fear and did that. I'm just not going to do it again. If I change my mind, I change my mind, but I'm good with it. So I think people knowing themselves and being genuine and honest because you're unique. There's no norm. There's no such thing as normal, right? If we're all individuals, how did the concept of normal even evolve and be created? Because what is it for you? Not your friends that are all going on the rides. I never could go on the spinny rides, and I still can't. I instantly get a splitting headache and throw up. Those spinny rides that spin real fast.
oh yeah.
My son does it. He tries to get me on that. Nope, I'm not going on those. Nope, never get me on those. The roller coaster's okay, but anything that spins really fast and makes you dizzy, I never have been able to handle. So know yourself.
I like that. You know, what's your ride? There's a new slogan for our show. What's
There
your
you
ride?
go. What's your ride?
You
What's
know,
your ride?
and it's okay to ask for help like we discussed before. You know, it's okay. Hey, I'm scared of this, but I know I need to try it. I know I need to get past this. Will you hold my hand to go with me on it? You know, if that's what it comes down to and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, whether physically with your son or your daughter going on a ride or metaphorically with someone else going through some other challenge that they've got. You know, that was another eye-opening thing for me is I used to think that I had to be the expert and know everything about everything when I started my podcast or whatever. But then I realized I'm like, even the great mentors that we all know have mentors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to still need a mentor. It's okay to still need help. It's okay to not know everything. And it's okay to start from where you're at with what you have.
That's so wise and courageous, Kenny, because otherwise you would never have started, right? Nobody's ever 100% ready. Steve Jobs, Walt Disney, they all started somewhere, failed miserably, and kept going. So I think that's great. You just started it. That was one of my, I tend to I have a perfectionist side. So I had to really get over that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it and start. I'll just, you know, have certain things in place. Yeah. But just start because it's not going to be perfect, polished, and everything. Just start.
Absolutely. And also, you know, like you said before, don't be afraid to mess up.
Mm-hmm.
That's I I'm an analogy guy, and I'll use a road trip. Some of our best road trips have been detours. Stuff we weren't even planning on doing, but it's been some of the most memorable, most fun things we've done as detours.
Awesome. Now there's a quote by Kenny. Most of our best road trips have been detours. That's a
Oh, I
great.
like that.
That's a great quote. And that speaks actually kind of to your title. It's like we have a roadmap, we have a plan, but there's detours. It's an adventure of life, right? I have a brand, Higher Self Adventures. It's about, higher self and discovering your higher self and that adventure and that journey, coupled with an outer adventure like swimming with the dolphins or surfing or ziplining, spiritual retreats when things open back up a bit more. But I believe life is an adventure. You can have a fearful, kind of meek adventure, or you can have an exhilarating adventure. There's going to be challenges and unknowns and failures in both, but the overall flavor of your adventure of life, what is it going to be? What decisions are you going to make it's in your control.
Yeah, that's a key thing too. It's in your control. How you respond is 100% in your control. Yeah, the detours and roadblocks may not be
Right.
excuse me, in your control, but how you respond is.
And I'm going to risk saying even that is not in our conscious control. Sometimes our responses, right? I know as a parent, my responses are not under my conscious control. I get upset. I do things, when I drank and abused drugs, that wasn't under my control. I thought it was. I tried my best for it to be. I didn't have the money or wherewithal to get help, and the help I did get didn't help because it had to come from within me to stop. So I think because of the mechanics of the subconscious mind, which I studied, some things are not under our control. Oh, you know what comes to mind? Fear of heights or fear of water, right? We can't consciously get over that. We can't control that. But a couple hypnosis sessions, hypnotherapy sessions, and boom, you're not afraid of water anymore. So, but going back to the main point, you do have the power to release and change those reactions. So ultimately, you're right. We do have the power and decision how we react. If we can't change that reaction, we have the power to seek how to change that reaction. I hope that made sense. Did that make sense?
It did. It did.
In words, I may not be able to control my fear of water, but I can control whether I go get help and release and solve that problem of fear of water. So,
Absolutely. There's so many different aspects of help out there, and so many different aspects of control. We can get into the subconscious mind all day long. I love that topic.
mm,
But yeah, like you said, there's there's things you can do that you can control in every scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for me, if take the fear of water, it may sound simple, and I'm not the smartest on subconscious mind, but just okay, if I'm put in this situation, I can control how it's if I um, just back away from the water and get myself out of that situation, you
Right.
know, and then go get the help to approach that better the next time around, or be more prepared for it, or whatever that case may be.
Good point.
but but yes, there's lots of lots of opportunity out there for getting the help, for exploring who you really are, for finding your passion, finding your purpose. And if people wanted to reach out to you more, connect with you more, where could they find you?
Soulpoweredhealing.com. Soulpoweredhealing.com.
I am just putting that in there. Let's see here. Now, is that correct?
Yes.
Perfect.
Without my reading glasses, yes, I can see that. I'm 54, so I when I hit 40, I was like, my wife started me noticing, my putting my hand out more, to read. So I've never wore glasses, but reading glasses sometimes I need in certain light, but that's completely legible. So yeah, I can. That's great. Thank you, Kenny.
Oh, and that brings up another example right there. You recognize there was something happening, so you ate some of that humble pie and you got some reading glasses.
Right. Right.
It doesn't have to be like huge flash of light, miracle things like that. Just small little tweaks can make a big
Mhm.
improvement in your life, but it's also the small little tweaks that take the most humble pie to get to that.
Sometimes, but I did resist. In all honesty, it's like, no, I'm gonna read. I don't want to, rely on glasses, keep my eyes strong. But then I'm like, put them on, like, oh, this is so nice.
Yeah, and I find that so true, especially with my son, because in my mind, I'm the adult, I'm the dad, I know better, but there are some times that he'll put me in my place, and then I'll have to come back like, I the stubbornness in me hates to admit that I was wrong in that scenario, and
Hmm.
like my 8-year old is telling me the proper way to handle it and the right thing to do, and I don't want to admit that. So,
But what a valuable lesson for your son to
oh yeah,
to be okay with owning your mistakes. It's okay. Doesn't mean anything. We all make mistakes. It's part of life. And if my dad can own the mistakes, great, awesome. I can too. You know?
yeah, and that's been one of the biggest things for me is, you know, when my son was born, I'm like, all right, now I'm not the only one that it affects as much. There's somebody watching my every single move, and he's soaking it up like a sponge, just like they say.
Yep, it's so true.
Oh, awesome. Well, David, it's been such a great conversation. If you have any one or two little tips that you would give, what would you say?
um, I would say explore. Explore what this soul self is. Explore who you are at the deepest level. Be curious. Whatever path, whether it's religious, spirituality, Buddhism, I mean, just or you're just sitting with yourself and saying, I want to know this soul self. If I'm this eternal being, then I leave my body and I still go on. If that's true, and I personally know it is because I've had the experiences, but if that's true, let me experience that. Let me feel it and show me, this higher power has such good intentions and wants the goodness for us. So I think making that decision to want to know that is the biggest tip or advice I can do, give you is, and then you have the inclination to look for books, teachers, Google, anything that supports that. And secondly, if you're not happy, seek your purpose and your passion. Because there is another way. That unhappiness is there for a reason, showing you that you deserve happiness. There's another way. And to start asking about what that might be. And thank you, Kenny. It's been great having this conversation with you too. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome. Those are great tips, and I love that. And kind of ties back into the just start and reach out for help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know,
yeah. If you don't have the answers, reach out for help. There's lots of, because of social. I probably grew up in the before the internet and cell phone era. You can just find so much right now, free
oh,
and affordable.
yeah.
You invest in your soul and you invest in yourself. Whew, amazing things happen. You're not investing in whatever you invest in. That's just the vehicle. You're investing in yourself. When you buy groceries, you're investing in your food, just through the grocery store. So invest in yourself is something else I could say, whether it's time, money, or effort. Or all
One
of
of
it.
the greatest investments you'll ever make.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, David, for being here. We really appreciate it. And all right, and everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. And please live your passion, fulfill your purpose, and explore those possibilities.